I lost one of my windows. There we go. Redid my VR windows, and I lost the one from the desktop, so that I could turn the start streaming. So looks like we're streaming, and quite a few months ago now, I was Jim Kara, who's doing the ATC stuff. He also was doing some VR improvements, and so me and Triple J were playing around with this test build, and this was, I don't know, I think it was in the spring. It's like in April or something, and but because it's a test build, you know, it's all alphas, so there ain't no way I can stream it. So finally, it finally is public. So if you look in the release notes of 12.1.3 Beta 1, you'll see something about VR, moving VR windows or something like that. So what that's all about is, that's one of the things. So I have on my yoke, I have a button so that if I hit this button, that basically shows up the ATC window. And so if I hit the button again, it goes away. So I can toggle it like on and off with the button. So when I have it here, I can like move it over here. When it comes back, it's there. So this is only for laminar research windows. So in other words, the ATC window, the map, there may be some other ones that I just don't come to mind right now. But it is not for plug-in windows. So windows that people create, for example, this guy here. You know, so that's a plywood Lua window. It doesn't work with those. Will it in the future? I hope so, but it doesn't right now. So let me move here out of the way. So that's one of the things that Jim added. So so that's kind of nice, and I'm kind of hoping that they can expand it to plug-in created windows. I'm not sure, but the one thing what I want to like stress is that please, like, you know, give this thing a spin, and if you find problems with it, get a hold of Jim and say, hey, this isn't quite working the way I think it should, and we'll see if we can get at least some, because it's been seemingly a long time since they've really done anything serious with VR, except for maybe some improved performance, and that's always kind of hard to judge. So yeah, you know, so that works actually quite well, you know. So sometimes it does this. I'm not sure why, you know, that I had to hit the button twice to get it to go to hide. So, but like I said, I can put it wherever I want it. So I'll put it over here, and then they'll come right back. I haven't figured out where it's stored at yet, but for another day. What the heck was that? All of a sudden, my window, my screen kind of like, almost like there was a big cloud in front of the sun, then it went away. It's bizarre. Okay. So one other thing that we, and I'm not going to fly today. This is just kind of, that's a twofold thing. The improvements that are in the latest release, the latest beta 1 release. The other thing he did, let me do it this way. Oh, before I do that, so let me go here. Did you fix this? Wow, that actually looks better. Wow. I wonder how they did that. This used to be really hard to read, and that's actually not bad. I wonder how they did that. Maybe they changed the background. I don't know. But it used to be, this was really hard to read, and it was hard to see in VR. That's better. That's absolutely better. So let me go here. No, does it work? I was gonna say, wait a minute. Okay, so if we go over to VR hardware, excuse me. Yeah, yeah, I was surprised too. So you have this here, this reset floating VR window positions. So I'm gonna go ahead and click it, and then I'm gonna go back. And so let me see. Yeah. So what that did is it put it back in the default position. So now when I push the button, it's attached to my headset. So if I grab it and put it over here. So that's what that button does. It basically resets it to how it would be if you never put a window in a certain place. So it resets those positions. I'm gonna go back there and do it again. So, because this will also so back here, resume flight. So if I push the button, okay. When these windows are attached to your headset, they used to be much closer. So if you had a big window, like a really big window, and if you're using a VR controller, you can always feel it. But if you're using the mouse cursor, you couldn't feel it. So if the window was like way up here, you couldn't even, if it was basically, if the top bar was out of your field of view and you were using a mouse cursor, you would have a heck of a time trying to grab that window. So what they've done is they've moved the windows further out to kind of make it easier. And then the other thing that Jim did was lower the initial position. So let me do this one. So let me go to Plywood Lewis. I'm going to reload Plywood Lewis scripts. Macros. Whoops. Reload all Lewis scripts. Okay. So you can see that I have this great big narrow, tall window. What he did was make this bar. Normally, this window, let me look at it. Yeah, okay. So if I'm looking straight ahead, trying to make sure that this is working the way it's supposed to. Yeah, I think so. What he tried to do was make this bar. So make if you're looking straight ahead. So wherever it's attached to your headset, that this bar, instead of this window being 1/2 of the window, it's 1/3 of the window. So basically it moved this bar down. So it makes it easier to basically grab a big window. You can always grab it with the VR controller because you can feel it. But using a mouse cursor, you can't feel it. So if you have this bar generally always in your field of view, then you'll be able to see it where you can grab it with a VR mouse cursor. And for the guys that don't use VR controllers, this will be very, very, very helpful. So, yeah, let me look at this. And if it's not, and if it's not good enough, then like I said, get with Jim and say, no, that needs to be lowered a bit for a big window. Just get with him, and then he can adjust it. So, yeah. Like I said, it was like months ago that we me and Triple J, we're playing with this, and I'm like, when, and I kept asking, like, when's this gonna go public, And then when I finally seen it in the release notes, I went, oh, okay, that's cool. So, but yeah. So this will make like VR, especially the guys, that are using the VR mouse cursor. Those guys, because the crazy thing is, let me get. Whoops, that's not where I wanted to go. Let me go turn that on. Yeah, that's way better. I think Delta said he was working on that. So we'll turn that on. Okay. So crazy things about VR mouse cursors. Let me find my mouse. There we go. So plugins, private Lua. Okay, so even though this is a tall window, I can look out of the top of my headset and seriously grab it. So look at how big this window is. This window's huge. So, and I intentionally, this is a test window I created to kind of test this. And so that's doable. So I don't see, I don't think any plane developer is going to have a window really that's taller than this. This is pretty tall. I mean, look at where's it at? Right there. So that's really tall. So that should help. That should help. So, and like I said, so in the mouse cursor, you don't feel any of this. So you can see that bar is it's highlighted, but you can't feel it. And the same way, it's like just moving them around. They're just annoying. There we go. And the only way you can move it is you have to move your head back and forth to actually move it. I'm not so sure you can even rotate. No, you can't rotate. So I tried to rotate my head down. No, that ain't going to move it. So they are, and I get why people with, mostly it's people with full-blown cockpits. No. Guys with the deal. Here's the deal as I see it. Guys with like full-blown cockpits. Okay, they're a big fan. And for whatever reason, a lot of it is that they have like real hardware. I mean, so if you have a, full-blown cockpit, you got real hardware. I mean, whether you're using real sim gear or you're using SATEC or whatever you're using. You have physical hardware, and but it's just not how I fly in VR. I mean, I fly in VR with very little physical hardware, just a yoke and a set of rudder pedals, and I'm using VR controllers for everything else. But it's how I personally like to fly, and because it takes up less room in my house, and So for a long time, I just, I didn't pay much attention. Then I finally said, let me like try to figure out what's the real. So I started asking some questions of people that, like, okay, so why using the VR mouse and not controllers? And I got some good feedback and kind of went, okay, cool. So let me kind of pursue this a little bit. So I kind of made it a mission, like after. I think I went to the summit in Montreal, and I kind of made it a mission that we need to improve the VR mouse cursor. Somehow, some way, this has to happen. So, and practical use. If you're we'll say you have a physical cockpit. So you got like a radio panel over on your right. And it is just like it would be in real life, in a real airplane. So that you're using muscle memory. You may be using VR, for like the visuals, but you want that muscle memory to come over and touch on the knobs of the radio panel and actually turn it. So that's kind of what it is, and it's also why a lot of people that are in that camp, they're looking for mixed reality. So they're looking for a headset that not only shows the VR out in front of you, but also they can see their physical cockpit through their VR headset. So that's called mixed reality, where there's cameras on the headset and they can actually see it. So they can see when they put their hand over on the knobs, you know what I mean? So that's kind of the deal. Yeah, not with my headset. Mine's going in the opposite direction. Mine, you get rid of all that stuff. so mine's in the opposite direction. But yeah, that's kind of what the deal is. And so it's kind of interesting, you know. I mean, there are two camps. I mean that, you know, people. I'm in a very small camp. There's hardly anybody that plays like you do though, Downwind. You know, I happen to use two controllers. You use one, and but that's kind of the difference, you know. And so I'm gonna let me think. Yeah. So the other thing is that so we'll say let me pull up something here. Oh, I can do data ref tool. So I say search. So that data ref tool showed up. It basically is further away than it normally would have been. So and when notice that I'm going to use the VR controller. Get rid of it. So with the VR controller, if I go to Advanced Menu, Plugins, Data Ref Tool, hello, where'd my controller go? I'm back here. My tracking just went wonky on me. I don't know what happened. So when you use it with a controller, now it's attached to my VR controller. That is impossible on a mouse. So when you use a VR mouse cursor, it's always going to show up attached to your headset. So it's always going to be, you know, out in front of your headset. Where here, you know, it's attached to my controller, so I can put it, you know, wherever I want it. But it's basically the difference. So yes, the functionality, through my eyes, is not as good, for sure. And but it's important to kind of show those differences to how they work, you know. But if you're using that all the time, maybe you just get grow accustomed to those idiosyncrasies. And so we're done with you for right now. But I just wanted to go over that. The other thing I kind of wanted to do after I kind of went over some of the changes in the latest version is just the functionality of a VR of a properly done VR controller. Because I am looking forward to the Microsoft 2024. Let's see, that'll be out on Tuesday. So this is probably my last X-Plane stream for a little bit. And what I also wanted to do in this stream is kind of document what proper VR support looks like. And so I kind of thought, we might as well do that at the end of this stream after I kind of covered pretty much what I wanted. So just a couple of things. Trim wheel in particular. So if I come down here and I highlight the trim wheel, and then I pull down on so that I highlight it, I feel the haptic in the controller. If I pull down on the trigger, now I'm attached to it. So if I want to move the trim wheel just the slightest bit, I can easily do that and move it a little bit more. And then move it up. But I can make the most minute changes in a trim wheel. If you have a simulator that says it has VR controller support, it should be able to do that. If it can't, then I don't consider it fully having VR controller support. No. No, I do not. I always teleport. I don't have a problem with that, but there is I think I did make a script once that basically used the move command. That works. You know, where I had like a window I could drag with me, and so it was or I actually may have used my button to command. I may have used that, and so you could tell it to move, so it would kind of move you along. So that's probably as close as I know how to do that. So I see that Microsoft Flight Simulator 2024 does have a walking mode. I'm kind of curious how that works in VR. I'm really not sure. So they sometimes do some kind of strange things. Okay, so that's one thing. The same way as, let me get the plane started up here. Let's see, I can cheat on this plane. I just need some beacon on. And battery. No bit of fuel. Oop. Yeah, that's ain't my rep plane, so I can play around a little bit more. Oh, that's not good. Haptic feedback is important. So the same way as like the brightness here. So if I, so it's highlighted, I pull down on the trigger, and I just rotate just the slightest amount. And I have like really fine control. The same way as if we go over here. So, I mean, I can easily set the frequency I want. It may be a little bit too fine, where you may have to rotate quite a bit to get somewheres, but you can definitely dial in, you know, whatever you need. Same way as the bigger one. So, you should be able to do that. You just should be able to do that. That should be a given. So, same way as throttle. So if I highlight the throttle, and when I highlight it, I feel it. So I just shove it ahead a little bit. So there I went up, what, 40, maybe less. So I'm 980. So I went from 980 to 900. 940. So you got like really, really good control, you know, where to basically fine-tune things. And I know on 2020 it is really coarse. I mean, you're moving the controller, nothing happens, moving it, nothing happens, and then it like jumps, and it's like, man, this is bad. Sad part is you use the mouse and it works fine. You know, I mean, it's kind of like, what the heck is this? So, but I have a friend that I met at Flight Sim Expo. VR Pilot, I think is his handle, and but I met him there, and he got to go out to the Grand Canyon on Microsoft's dime. And he actually got to try the whatever version they had out there. He got to try it, and he was using like a Pimax crystal. So I've kept in contact with him, and so when I get my choice, hello, what the hell happened? I have no idea what that was all about. Oh. I'm trying to figure out what it tripped up on. I'm not sure. Maybe it's the underscore. No, there is not. At least there's not in 2020. So, I mean, that is like such a, I mean, it does make, I mean, that's a huge difference, you know, where if you, yes, you did. Sorry about that. And I'm not so sure what I was unhappy with. I'll have to look at my bot and see, and see what it tripped on. The only thing I'm thinking is the underscore, that it may have tripped on that. So, because I don't see anything else that it should that it should have done that. So, but no, they do not. And but it is a great feature of X-Plane, you know, where the same way as if this was wrong, then I could just add it to the config file and make it better, make it less sensitive, more sensitive, whatever you need to do. So, and that works basically with everything. So, but trying to think here. Yeah. So that was pretty much. Let's see. Set COM1 standby 118.100.
COM1 standby set to 118.1.
That was a little weird. The it wouldn't let me click the button. It wouldn't highlight the button. I'm not sure why.
Erie International Tom Ridge Field Tower, November 172 Sierra Papa. Radio check.
November 172 Sierra Papa. Reading you loud and clear.
Yeah, I just don't after using like pilot to ATC. Okay. After using pilot to ATC and then say intentions, I'm the fact that I can't interact with this with voice is kind of annoying. And I don't like the fact that the bottom part here goes away. So if you go off here, it's gone. It's like, and that's where the commands are. So here's the bad thing. Like say you're coming in and you're supposed to report final. Well, now I have to highlight this first before I can come down here. It's like, but I think the push to talk. So the push to talk does open it up, but it is just too. I'm too spoiled by say intentions and pilot to ATC, but say intentions I like it a lot. So. Okay, so what are we doing here? Oh, let me let's see. Oh. I heard my yoke rattling. That's still rattling. Yeah, that's a lot better. BR, BR, BR. Okay, then we'll BR. Oh, join stack. Oh, it's kind of interesting. They use OpenXR runtime is grayed out. It's kind of interesting why that's true. I'm not so sure why that is. Okay. Yeah, so let me kill the engine. my, my yoke just slapped me when the plane stopped. The yoke went like this, so it went ahead and slapped me. So hide that again. So the same way. So on the starter on the magnetos here. So I just turn it, just rotate a little bit. So I mean, so it lets you very precisely, I mean, control the magneto. So and like same way as like the light. So I come in, I can feel it, and then there's not a lot of, you know. You almost move it up to the position where the switch would be. So if I move it down, so basically it's almost like you're grabbing the switch and moving it up, just like you would in real life. And I'm just like, there may be other ways to do this, but this seems intuitive. But once again, I mean, I've been using this basic VR interface and X-Plane for as long as they've had VR in X-Plane. so it's been like a long time. So in the same way, it's like the fuel. So turn wheel. So it's just I just personally think that's the way it should be. And I'm hoping that 2024 can actually accomplish that. So we'll have to see. Okay, so let me I'm gonna go ahead and one more time. So I'm gonna reload all the Lewis scripts. And so this is a real improvement. So let me do it this way. So, oh, it's not gonna work though. Yes, that's better. I gotta tell Delta. Thank you. He said he was working on it. I'll find out if he's the one that fixed it or not. Alrighty, so yeah. Hello. But that's interesting. Because I have a window attached. Well, maybe not. Okay. Yeah. So I have to look. So I'm trying to look. This window is really, really, really large, so. But I absolutely, if I look out through the top of my lenses, and with the big screen beyond, when I'm doing that, it kind of gets a little, you know, when you're looking out at the edges of the lenses, which is what you'd have to do, it gets a little blurry. And just the way the lenses are, the sweet spot is in the middle, and when you get out to the edge of the lenses, it's not real clear. So I'll do this one more time. So plugins, live with Lua, reload scripts. So it's certainly, that's so hard to judge, but I know Jim had said that he was trying to make it, you know, it's further out for sure, so that makes it easier. So what I'm trying to do is see the top. And when I try to look out through here, yeah, you can do it. It takes a little bit of practice, but it's way easier. And like I said, this window's huge. This is a big window. So most windows aren't going to be this tall. So hopefully that will help the VR mouse cursor guys. So yes, where you could actually place it. Well, that's what I'm kind of curious where. So where is that position of that ATC window? Where is it stored? It's kind of what I kind of suggested to Ben is this. I get rid of this guy. I find him annoying. Well, I'm glad that part's fixed though. So what I kind of recommended to Ben is in a VR config file, you can basically mark where the pilot is, where co-pilot is, all that stuff. And let's see. No, I'm not in the rep airplane, but in the rep airplane, all the positions for like doing a walk around. Let's see, do I have a rep airplane in this installed? No, I don't. But it basically has the positions of when you do your walk around. There are positions in the VR config file of where you go. So you basically teleport to them, but those are all stored in the VR config file. So I asked Ben, I said, why can't we have plug-in windows that basically are stored in the VR config file for that aircraft? And it's all based on, it's all based on the center of gravity of the airplane just like all the other stuff is. I would think that would work. The only thing you would need is you would need to know the ID of the window, whatever the number is of the window. X-Plane knows it, and you would have to have that information in the VR config file and say place it there. That should work, you know. Yeah. I mean, you know, I'll bug him some more. But I basically said him, I think I was at the Dev Summit in Montreal, and I said to him, and I tried to, you know, I explained it just like I explained it here. I says, and his response was, "That's not a crazy idea." so I went, okay, well, sometimes my ideas are crazy, and he will tell me that, but he didn't say that one was. So that's kind of, I would think that would be a cool idea, though. Yes. Yeah. Yeah, I spent, when was it? A couple days ago. Wednesday. I took Fly Shirley for a trip. We did touch and goes here in Erie, and it's pretty cool. But after using Say Intentions, it's got a long ways to go to even come close. It really does. And it's, so Fly Shirley's like $10 a month. And, Say Intention, if you do it annually, it's 16. So it's not a lot more money, but it's got a lot more features. So it's I'm glad I tried it. And I had Austin as my co-pilot, so it was hilarious. So it was a lot of fun. I don't know, maybe 4 or 5 touch and goes here in Erie. And but it was a lot of fun. And Alex, the developer, he was in the chat, so it was kind of cool too, you know. So, but you know, and it's just but it's the Brian there from Say Intentions. I mean, he is like just on fire, just adding features and that stuff. We're not getting as many for the X-Plane part. Partly because of the numbers, is that he just can't afford to like spend a lot of development time on X-Plane for some of the features that he's added to Microsoft Flight Simulator. But it's just numbers. I mean, it's just we're a really small piece of that pie, and just kind of have to deal with it. It's just the way it is. So, but okie dokie. Well, I think I'm okay. So performance-wise, I don't see, it seems okay, you know. I tried to make all my, let me add a couple more things. So I got, so my, so my Steam VR is set at 100, resolution is set at 100%. And then my X-Plane is set at 70. So I'm rendering to X-Plane 2980 by 2980, which is super sampled by about 500 a side. So and I'm all good. I'm all good in green. So this particular install doesn't have any extra scenery, so it's just default. Whatever X-Plane is, that's what it is. There's no X World or any of that stuff. I don't have any of that in this install. So I wanted this one to be kind of clean for showing this stuff off. And so, but let me. I'm gonna go here. So I just wanted to kind of custom edit. Hello. So I just kind of wanted to kind of, you know, as long as we're going over VR stuff, so these are my Valve Index controllers. So editing. So this is because I have OpenXR enabled, then basically this configuration is what's used, and this is one that I've modified. I think I published it to the workshop here if I remember right, but this is kind of how I have mine configured. And the one thing I did is this thing right here, this pad here. It's annoying because when you try to use your thumbstick, you inadvertently touch the pad, and the pad is the same as the thumbstick. It has the same functionality. So you would inadvertently, when you didn't really want to, you would touch that pad, and it would be like you moved the thumbstick down to the bottom. So I disabled it completely. Let's see here. Yeah. So this trackpad, there's nothing underneath it. So I basically put all that stuff. I just put it in the trash can, and so that's not used at all. So and seems to work. Seems to work fine for me. Current binding. Boop, 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 boop. Yep. Cool. Back. Close. Okay. Anything else? Oh, that's all there. Oh, yeah. So, trying to remember when this happened. I can't remember now, but because I use index controllers, originally the index controllers didn't have left and right, but when the OpenXR stuff started, it allowed them to actually have a left and a right controller if you have the OpenXR enabled. So that now I have a right and a left. So if I'm on the right, that would mean all right. So you can see that's right. And because before it would just be index controller, not left and right. So it was pretty easy to kind of get your bindings reversed. So, and it was almost it appeared like it was related to which controller did you turn on first. It was almost like the right one would be first and the left one would be second, depending on how you turned them on. If you turned them on in opposite directions, then they would be reversed. And but with using the OpenXR stuff, now that's no longer a problem. So, okay, so the last thing I wanted to talk about is I'm looking at a new toy. There's a company out of Japan called Megan X, I think it's what it's called. They have a new VR headset. It's supposed to be released in around February of next year. And so it's another micro OLED headset. And but it's using bigger screens than what the Bigscreen Beyond does. And not a cheap date. It's like $1,800. So it's not cheap at all. And but it's a Steam VR headset, so I can use my Valve Index controllers with it. And the cool thing is that it doesn't have a custom facial interface. The screens, let's see, so the Bigscreen Beyond uses screens about a little under an inch, maybe 0.9, something like that. Because it does, they had to use a custom facial interface to make sure your eyes are lined up right in front of the screens. If you're not, it's not going to be a good experience. So this new one's using screens that are 1.3 inches, so they're quite a bit bigger. The lenses themselves are bigger. They're also pancake lenses like what the Bigscreen uses, but they're made by Panasonic. Panasonic makes the lenses, so it's a lens assembly. And The earlier reports, it looks pretty good. It has a IPD adjuster on it. So as opposed to the big screen, the IPD is fixed. This one is adjustable. It has diopter adjustments on it. So underneath the bottom of it, there's two knobs that you can adjust the diopter on it. In my case, I have astigmatism. So I will need to get lens inserts, and they're going to make lens inserts for it. So I am, there's a couple of streamers that are, one's mostly a VR streamer, but he is kind of getting into flying. The other's a VR flight sim guy, and I followed him for a long time. And it sounds like he's going to get one too, probably the end of this month, beginning of next month. So before the pre-order window, then the pre-order window is going to close basically when they ship. So I want to be able to kind of see what their impressions are. There's a big difference between actually going to somebody's office or whatever and trying out a headset and actually having the headset at your house where you can try it whenever you want, and it gives you a better opportunity to, if there's any problems, to go ahead and find them. So let's see. It's called Megan X Superlight 8K. So it's 8K. So it's 4K per eye, and kind of interesting how they use numbers, but that's it. So you have IPD adjustment. You have diopter adjustment. You basically have a relief adjustment, so you can control how tight the headset is to your face. The way it's on your head is kind of like a halo. So kind of across your forehead, that's where the strap is on the front, and then in the back, it's a soft strap. But in the back, it's kind of it's like two parts to it. So it kind of cups the back of your head. So it's from your forehead to the back of your head. The headset itself kind of barely touches your face. And the other thing it can do is, talking about the mixed reality stuff, what you can do with it, there's a button on it. You can push the button in, and you can flip the headset up. So you're looking, so you have... You have real mixed reality because you're using your eyes, because the headset is like it tips up like from down here, so it tips up at 90 degrees. So it's like, look, it's the coolest thing. So that's pretty neat, and the resolution on that. So mine's 2560. That one there, it's about 3580 by 3580. So it is one hungry headset. I mean, so I planned on buying a 5090 in the spring, and I may need it to drive it. But that's kind of what I'm kind of looking forward to, and we'll see how those two guys and other people how the reviews go. And right now it looks pretty good. I'm quite excited, and yeah, it's only money. That's right. Yeah, it's only money, and I'm just a nut. I mean, I chase high-end headsets. I mean, I really do, and but I will. I mean, but one thing I've really found is once I got this beyond, putting on a headset that weighs much more than this is a non-starter. I cannot do it anymore. So this headset, it's a little bit heavier. So this one here, the base headset is like 127 grams. That one is 185 grams. So it's not a lot heavier, but it's got a motorized IPD adjustment. It's got a diopter adjustment. So it's got a lot more features, and the screens are bigger, so the lenses are bigger. So it's only what, 50? I think 50 or so. More weight, 50 grams more weight. It's kind of like, that's really not that big a deal. You know what I mean? So it isn't like it's like 800 or 900 or 1,000 grams. I mean, it's like, so I'm kind of looking, we'll see how it works out. And so that's kind of what is in my future, you know. So, and it'll be interesting when both them guys, when they, by the time they get there, 2024 will be out. So it'll be kind of interesting what it looks like in that headset. So, but and like I said, it's a Steam VR headset. So it's a DisplayPort, you know. So it's gonna work with my Valve Index controller. So, and so what that means is that it'll work with the should work with X-Plane without a problem. But we'll find out, and if it doesn't, we'll have to work through the problem. So, okay. I think I'm gonna call it a day, and that was all I probably wanted to go over, and it just kind of just going over just VR stuff. So, well, it was good. It was good to see you. I'm glad that I caught you when you weren't working. So, you seem to be a very busy person currently. So, but alrighty. Thanks, guys, for stopping by. Thanks, Iowa, for showing up, and we'll catch you another day. And like I said, probably I'm thinking the next time I probably the next time I stream will be in 2024. It's kind of what my thought process is, and we'll go from there. Thanks much. Have a great day. Bye-bye.